Today is August 21st. I had this idea to interview Dvora's grandmother, Mrs. Pfeffer, to get a little bit of an understanding of her earlier life in Europe and have some questions, and maybe we'll hear about your life in your own words. What year were you born in, and where were you born?
1924, June the 18th.
And what city?
Burstin. Burstin.
And where is that, in Poland? What was the closest big city?
Raten.
Radin?
Raten.
And
R-O-T-O.
And was this the city where the Chafetz Chaim was from, or that was Radin? That's a different.
Raten.
Oh, Rohatim. Okay. And you stayed in Burgstein from 1924 until what age?
Till maybe when the German came.
So that would be 1939.
Yeah.
So you were 14 years old, or 15 years old. And do you remember anything about the schools that you went to?
I had a rabbi, he came to the house, but for a while I didn't care for him, so I went to Hebrew school.
Was it a Litvish Hebrew school or a Bnei
No.
Akiva style?
A woman that she knew very good Hebrew, and she wrote, because my mother gave her a room for 3 girls to teach us, and she didn't take rent for her.
I see. I see.
It was Ida Hornik.
That was her name.
Mm.
And how about, what did your father do for a living?
We had Yiddish land,
Okay.
and my father used to go in a village, sleep by a neighbor there, Jewish fella, and talk to the goyim that he gives you the land and you should work the land and give him half. Sometimes they wanted only give us a third and they was working. And then comes, we had a whole bag, salad, potatoes and wheat, all kind of bags in the attic, because we had seeds and went to the mill and we had made, from the seed we made flour.
Mm-hmm.
So we had everything from the field.
Mm-hmm. And
But my father used to work the whole week. He was there for Shabbos. He came home Friday.
what city was he in? This was in the
Burstin near Rohaten.
Oh, okay, so he was. So
But the village was near Burstin.
Neil Bogston.
Yeah, Niemchen. Niemchen.
Yeah.
Niemchen. Niemchen.
So your father spent the week in Niemchen, and he came home
The
to.
whole week he spent it. For Shabbos he
Came home to
Burstin.
Bogston. And your mother took care of the family.
Yeah.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
2 sisters. We were 3 girls.
3 girls.
Yeah, I was the middle one.
And Let's see.
My mother saw when she knew that somebody don't have for Shabbos, she went and give her money and collect something that the lady shouldn't know, and she gave her the.
Matan B'Seisach.
Uh,
And how about secular studies? Did you go to a school, a public school?
Public school too. I went to public school, but not on Shabbos.
Do you remember anything about your relationship with your Polish neighbors?
I made them the homework. I get a B and she had a A.
Okay. But in general, would you say that that your relationship was good?
Good. They shout, this is a Jew, kill him. But then the mother said, here's the food, go in the attic and bring the food to Pfeffer's.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody else he killed. He ran after him.
So what happened in 1939?
So they, 1939, they came, they took my father and beat him up,
Who's they?
the German and the Ukrainian.
So who was it? The German Wehrmacht or the SS or the?
Everybody, they came with a whole group of people, Wehrmacht and the soldiers, and Mayas with the white, with the black boots.
So what did they do in 1939? They took your father or they beat him and then.
Beat him up. And so me and my sister, we ran after them, we took away the father and locked him in that they shouldn't see him.
You took your father and you locked him in your house.
Yeah, in the cellar there was a closet, like you couldn't see.
I see. Oh, so they would go look for him.
Mhm. But then they don't know where he disappeared.
I see. So what can you describe a little bit what happened in 19? So after that, once the Germans occupied Poland, how did you find yourself in your town? What was the situation for the Jews?
They made Judenfrei. Like they come to Lakefoot and they say tomorrow morning you have to go to this place and you can only take 2 pounds with you, something.
So basically they told everyone from the town of Burgstein to go to some ghetto somewhere.
It was in Bukachevitz.
What was the name of the ghetto?
Bukachevitz.
Mm-hmm.
Because the train was closed there.
How far away was the Bukachevich?
Like 3 out in New York and Lakefoot.
So right next door, really.
Yeah.
And so what? So you left your house the only house that you lived in since you were born at the age of 15,
Yeah.
and you moved into a house in
There
Bukachevich.
was no house. They didn't care what we did do. They said unified, there was no Jews. You have to go to the Bukachevitz. In Bukachevitz, there was no house. They come in, how many people in the room? They didn't care.
Mm.
Who made this rule?
The German,
The Germans?
the Ukrainian.
But just for clarity, Judenfrei means that there should be no Jews in some place,
Yeah,
in a particular place. It has to be clean of Jews,
yeah, he is
free of Jews. Yes.
Lakewood is going free.
Lakewood is Goyimfrei. Yes. Soon Borough Park is Eichet Goyimfrei,
Yeah.
and Monsey also. Um, so in 1939 you went to this Bukachevitz, and at that point was Burgstein really Judenfrei?
They came in the morning, like now we say, everything rouse, rouse, rouse.
Mm-hmm.
So you could only take 2 pounds of something. So I went to a neighbor and I had wheat and the machine and make something, like kasha.
Mm-hmm.
And for my father, I remember my father was in this time 75 years old.
Your father was 75 and you were 14? How old was your mother?
Was young, 18 years younger.
18 years difference. The same thing like you and your husband. I see.
So, and then
So-
he had a struggle,
Boris bucking the trend. I'm only 8 years older than Boris.
but it was a war. It wasn't a normal thing. He went to school. What you saying?
What war was there?
39 we walking, and you didn't normal. They went to school already
But
there.
your father and your mother were already married by then.
Yes,
So, the age difference, what the heck with the war?
because like now you going to school, you meet somebody. But there at the school, you couldn't go to school anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because so my father, they wanted to take us to Russia because there was finished high school and
Did you know the Germans were coming?
sure we know, but there's no place where to go. Where you gonna go?
So, okay, let's get back to, so you moved with your father, your mother, and your 2 other
No,
sisters.
my mother died when I was 11 years old.
I see. So your mother at this point had been dead for 2 or 3 years, 3 years or so. I see. So you lived with your father and your 2 sisters.
Yes,
I see. So at this point you moved with your father and 2 sisters to
Pukachev.
Bukachevitz. Okay.
Pukachev, how many Jews was there? Everybody wanted to go in that room. So there were so many.
Well,
It's ringing like
yeah, hold on a sec. You're back.
Say that again, Ma.
The German, they didn't recognize me as a Jew. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. I didn't look like a Jew, and I spoke good German and Polish. But there was no place to go. They said everybody has to go, and they looked with dogs, went from house to house if you had somebody.
So we'll have to deal with it. Fine. Now, what I want to get is, in 1939, you went from Bukachevitz. You went with your father and your 2 sisters. Yes.
Yes,
Okay. And you lived in a house together with many other Jews that were gathered there.
not 2 sisters, only 1 sister. One went to run away to Russia.
Okay, so in 1939, one of your sisters ran away to Russia. How old was she?
My sister went to college. Like here in New York, in Lakewood there's no college.
Yes.
So she went to New York. My sister went to college in Stanislav, a bigger town.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin, the one that I have youth after her, she was a lawyer. So she said, it doesn't look good. Everybody runs away to Russia. Come with me. So she went with her to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And her husband said, how could we go? We have no clothes. We want to have rice and everything. Let me go first and bring a suitcase. He went for a suitcase in Shagan. He never came back.
Mm-hmm.
So she remarried. She had another husband in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
While she was working there.
Okay.
Alright,
Yes.
can you stop there as you go one stop?
So you stayed in Bukashevitz for all of 2 days with one of your sisters and your father. At that
No,
point,
my father, we put it in the bunker. My father said, run away, I'm old, I can't run, but you could go to the woods and save your life.
but meanwhile you're in Bukachevitz, your father was in Bukachevitz with you, right?
Yeah, but I didn't, there was a bunker where somebody made there in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
So
Where
I
was this
put-
bunker?
In
the kitchen.
Bukachevitz.
Okay, so your father remained in Bukachevitz.
He, in the bunker, I put it strammel, I put water, I put it wheat,
Right.
and there, and covered it, and I covered the top.
They put her in a different home, in a ghetto, so she went into this house, and in the kitchen, there was a bunker on the ground, so she put her father in there
I
to
see.
save him.
And
And he told her, you go run in the woods, but he's an older man, so she
Right.
put him in with his Strymel and everything else. Ask her why.
why with the Strama?
Because he was religious. My mother didn't cover my hair, but my father was very religious. He
I thought
told
So
me,
your father wore a Strama, but your mother didn't cover her hair.
And a
Rajavulka.
What's that mean?
It's
It's
a
a
frock.
I thought he did it because he thought he could sell it. He thought it would be worth something if they caught him. The
no.
Strymel.
Doesn't matter. If they caught him, they'll
Okay.
just take the Strama anyway.
I thought that I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna have something for my father. I went, so the goyim took away everything.
Uh-huh.
Even the shram, I don't know how many, it wasn't such a lot for, but
Uh-huh. So what happened to your father? He stayed in the bunker in
then
Bukachevitz for how long?
a day or two,
And then
And how do you know it was a day or two?
what he said,
Who told you that it was only a day or two?
because they loaded 60 days has
Yeah, my father and her were cousins, so it came back the information that they saw him at the train station, that they were loading the Jews on the train.
and
So
this
they-
train was bound for
They don't know, I don't know where it was going to, but that's why they made a date. That day is the date of the yard site. He might have lasted a day or two afterwards, we don't know.
So that was the last time you saw him in that bunker. And
then
you
she,
you left Bukachevitz after 2 days before the roundup.
Ask what
you
happened though with her
went-
sister.
And your sister?
I went first in the woods,
The woods surrounding Bukachevitz.
yeah. And I came there was a Polish company, a Polish people. And they told me to, there was a couple other people too. I told them, this is my brother, this is my sister, because they were men. And so they let us in.
In
And
other
they-
words, there were a few Jews together, so she just made up a story that this is her brother and her sister.
I
and
see.
just-
I see.
and the man had to go in the how you call this, in the attic
Yeah. Boyd.
from Boyden.
Yeah.
And I used to cook and clean till the couple, they told me she's gonna save me.
So you then met up with a few Polish people.
Jewish.
Oh, Jewish people. Okay. And
Then I had carpets, you see, like I had big carpets from the house. So my father says, maybe someday we have to change this carpet for food.
mhm.
And the Polish woman says to me, you are so clean, you are so nice. I'm gonna go to my sister, and my sister has no kids. Nobody will know that you're Jewish.
Mhm.
And then I see they catch
Well,
me.
what year was this? This
39.
was right then. Okay.
So
So I'm not quite clear on the forest. You went to the forest for a couple of.
Days, but in the forest, she's mixing little stories. Is that there was some homes there, and one was the Geish family, and they went a few of the Jews into the family, and she said, "Oh, they're all my family here. Help us."
Okay, so the Polish people, the Polak, the Gentile helped you.
yeah, they told me, but I just want to
But
tell you
this-
how they
Right.
helped me.
Okay, so you
They
thought they
went-
were helping you.
They went they went to call the Gestapo that the Jewish girl is working for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I figure she want to have the carpets. In my hand, look at how handle I had here. I had to slap the carpet
Where was the carpet?
in the house.
In her old
Bukachev.
home.
In the old house in Burgstein.
Borstein.
Now, I would think that people had already raided that house and taken everything out of it.
This was in Bukachevich.
Oh, the carpets were in a house in Bukachevich?
Yeah. So I asked, I figure if he I said, I will give you all the carpet, but let me first see whether people, the train should go away, because right now it's dangerous. So she said, no, I want the carpet now, because she want to have the carpet and call the Gestapo that he is a Jewish girl. So sure enough, I had no choice. I gave her the carpet. I figured if I'm going to be alive,
So you went back to Bukachevitz.
I was
You
in the
picked
wood.
up.
In the
In
woods.
the wood.
You were in the woods. You had to go back. The carpet was now in the
In
woods.
the house,
In
no.
the house.
So you went from the woods
To the
where the
house.
Gentile family lived, back to Bukachevitz, the town. You took
Yeah.
the carpet from the place where your father was with his bunker, but he was no longer there
No.
because he had already been taken away, and you didn't
Yeah.
know where he was at that point.
And I
And
gave him the...
You took whatever was left in the house, the
When
carpet.
you came back, was he he was there still or no?
No, they took him away.
Okay, so you gave this woman the carpet, and then she called the Gestapo on you.
I
But she
didn't
didn't
know
know.
that what she's gonna do. I
Yes.
told her I'm gonna give a letter for the train. They're gonna go away. They're all with all these people. So after this, I will give her. Why should she set me on fire? They should catch me again.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, no, she wants now. And she sent the Gestapo that they should take me.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a Jewish couple that they left after they loaded the train. So I said to him, I don't trust her. If you go, you should take me too. So I had a pillow and I had a couple things I gave. They took me to...
She gave the Jewish guy what she had to take her with her on this. They were going by horse and buggy someplace, whatever they were
Okay.
leaving.
So they went where?
They went in the Rotten.
In the middle of the night.
I see. Back to the biggest town around.
Yeah.
Okay. So you arrived in Radin,
Rohatin.
Rohatin.
But there was a ghetto also there in Rohatin.
Rotten was a ghetto. Was my husband's mother and father there.
Mm-hmm.
There was other people there too, but I didn't see my father. I don't know. The father was already loaded to the train.
Yes. Your father back in Bukachevitz.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is still 1939, just really right after this initial taking to the ghetto.
It's probably a little bit 1940 already, I think, no?
It's already like
Yeah, because they were in the ghetto for a while. It was a working ghetto. They were able to work and come out.
Oh, okay.
You
So
understand? It wasn't
this
like-
was Bukachevitz, was a working ghetto. So basically, you were in Bukachevitz now for about a year, you say.
No, there wasn't so long.
Rohatin, you were in longer, no?
No, Rotten was a little bit.
So go ahead. So, I have documentation later. But go ahead. What happened when you went to Rohatin? The dates will follow up afterwards a little bit.
Okay.
What happened to Rohatin?
Rotten, there was it was a ghetto. There was no food.
But before, I'm sorry to interrupt. What happened with your sister Miriam? That was Bukachevich, right?
Yeah,
So go back to happening with Miriam.
yeah. He was running away from the policeman, from the German policeman and the Ukrainian. Because the Ukrainian says this is Jew catching
Where was this?
in Bukachevich.
Okay.
So he told me to stay because he won't catch another Jew. And he told my sister, another policeman to catch my sister. So in the meantime, I went on a tree, and the tree was bare, and he didn't see me. And my sister went with another policeman. They took her. And when he looked for me, he didn't look up on the tree. He didn't run, he just turned
So
around.
what happened to your sister who was caught?
They took her to the train.
And that was the last time you saw her?
With the
How I
father.
know she was there? She had silver and gold, but we had a watch in case we needed to save her life and to sell the jewelry and for that. So we went there, and so we share. Everybody should have something. My father had something. My sister had something. But in case we have to buy bread, we should have. So one guy from Israel, he was on the train there. He thought that he's gonna be safe. So he saw my father and my sister there. My sister said, she's not, I don't see Molly here. Maybe she's alive. Take this and give this to Molly. But he didn't want to take it. He thought maybe I'm gonna, run after from the train. Maybe I will save my life. So he didn't want to do it.
Can you stop there for a moment?
We're back, and the year is 1940.
They don't know the exact years they're running.
1940,
Let's say 1940. Your father and your sister were deported from Bukachevitz, and you miraculously escaped by climbing onto a bear tree, and either the Gestapo or whoever it was did not see you by some miracle.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got down off the tree eventually because you're here.
What
and-
about your sister? Why wasn't she able to run?
She had a cold. And she
Okay.
couldn't, she was sick. She had a virus.
Okay.
And what happened at the train? Who was the person that had that your sister tried to give jewelry to?
Everywhere.
And
Okay.
what was your sister's name?
Miriam.
Her name was her name Miriam?
Mincha.
Okay, so say her name, Idol Minsha.
I don't know.
So your sister Idol Minsha. It's a nice Yiddish name.
Mary Mida.
Okay. So you had some amount of jewelry at this point, and you went back into the forest, I assume.
He didn't want to take the jewelry from my sister.
He
What
being
ha-
this Ehrenberg guy.
Right.
But your sister went on the train. That's the end of that.
But then she went to the story with in the woods with the carpets, and then you're up to the point where the Jewish couple was leaving on this horse and buggy, and you went with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To Rohat.
Okay, so you're now on your way to Rohatyn with another Jewish couple through the night, and you have in your possession some carpets and
No, the carpet.
No,
I
the
didn't
carpet you
have.
gave to the
That
woman in the
carpet you
house.
gave to the
How did
Gentile
you-
woman.
How
Okay.
did you know that the woman wanted to turn you into the Gestapo?
Because I came to Israel, they say, Mali, how young you were there and how smart you were there. So you didn't, she promised you the whole world and you didn't come
But how did they know about it?
because
I'm trying
because I had to go rotting in ghetto, everybody knew.
Didn't something happen that afterwards in the town that the Gestapo came in the morning and they were looking for you and they went to the whole town looking how this
Yeah.
little girl?
But how did you know to leave the house?
that's
It
what
was
she
an
said.
instinct?
Yeah.
They asked me how come I'm so smart.
So you're saying it was an instinct that you
Who's
had. The
there?
lady wasn't good?
The Jews in Israel, when she went there, they didn't know she was still alive,
Uh-huh.
but they told her the story that when she left that house,
I see.
that middle of the night, the next morning, the Gestapo
Next morning,
came for
the
her, and
Gestapo
they were
came.
very angry at this little girl outsmarted them, and they went crazy the whole town looking for her.
They hated the Polish woman, but she said a lie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
But I didn't trust. I didn't trust her. If she was, they caught still Jews, and if she tell me to go on fire, how could she be so good to me? I didn't trust her.
Okay, so now you're in Rohatyn. The year is roughly 1940. And now what? Rohatyn has a Jewish ghetto, and are you in the ghetto?
Yeah, in ghetto, you come there, there's no food, no beds, 100 people in one room.
So why did you go to the ghetto? Why didn't you stay outside of the ghetto?
Where? In the woods is no place where to eat, no money, and no place, and people, you know, when they catch you, you could, in the eyes, you do recognize the Jew. You scared, you know. So they figure there's no place to go.
So
You have to, there's no money, there's no thing. The carpet I gave to the woman that she let us stay one night in the woods.
Mhm.
And that's it.
So what did you do in Rohatyn?
Rotin, I came to the ghetto. And in ghetto, I saw my Hebrew teacher there, Randa. I said, what you doing here? Because I came, he said, we wait for the death. We're gonna be dead in a while. We just a couple days here in ghetto. They're gonna load us like cattle and they're gonna kill us. In the meantime, didn't want to eat there because they didn't have what to eat themselves. And they didn't have what to drink. And so they said, Marchi, you look like not a Jewish girl. You know, I wouldn't recognize you. You know, I know you from the Hebrew school, but I would never recognize you. I put my coat, I made like from a coat, a jacket, and you know, a coat shirt. And then in the morning, early in the morning, I went, and from the ghetto, there was a wire,
Barbed wire.
wire, and I scratched myself because in the morning, early in the morning, I scratched myself and my hand was bleeding. And I figure I have no place, there's no money, there's no place where to sleep, there's no place where to eat. I'm gonna go on the Arbeitsamt. But they like
Arbeitsamt?
Yeah.
Like a work agency?
Employment agency.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell them that I wanna work. Maybe I'm gonna be lucky.
Didn't you have papers?
I had papers.
You missed that part. How did you get the papers?
My husband was a cousin of mine. They were very rich. They had a lot of business, sewing business, tractor business, and cars to repair.
There were no cars.
I know, but whatever it is, bicycle, bicycle.
Grandma, that was funny.
Tractors,
Tractor farming machinery.
farm machine.
Bicycles.
All right. So how did you get papers?
So the guy used to work for my husband, and they said they had papers that the German wanted to have people that they should work for them. So
Was it the Ukrainian, the manager there that told Daddy that he has some Ukrainian girls that were supposed to go to work and the Ukrainians didn't want to work, so they
Yeah.
wanted the Jews to work?
Yeah, so the Ukrainian boy said, I'm not going to work. I have a mother and father, and I have land, and I have what to eat. They don't look for me. I'm not going to work. But he said, anyway, here's the papers in case you're going to find some Jewish girl. Maybe she's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be safe. So he has the papers. He gave me this paper, so I went to Arbeitsamt.
And did anybody else have any papers that you know of?
Yeah, he
What's
had
her name?
Eva Vine.
Right.
But
And you're
she
the
had
only
nothing.
two of you that survived on the papers,
Survived, yeah.
from the 6 papers.
So you picked up some German authored documents stating that you were not.
No, it's Ukrainian papers.
Ukrainian
It's
papers.
girls, work papers.
Essentially, they were false identification papers.
Well, they were right for somebody else. There was some girl, she took them.
And I guess they didn't have a photograph on them.
Do you know the name of
Yes.
the person that, no, they put her, do you know the
They
name of the
photo-
person? Do you remember the work papers you had?
Olena Matkowska.
Helena Matkovska.
Yelena.
Helena, I have the papers, Matkovska.
Wonder if she's alive now.
And what did you do with those papers? Now you can go to the story that you went to the employment agency because you had some papers.
Okay, so you went to the employment agency and
I said,
you said that your name is Helena Matkovska.
and I would like to go to work in Germany.
Okay.
You didn't say in German,
But
you just said to work.
But at this point, you were 15 or 16 years old,
Mhm.
and wouldn't they ask where are your parents?
So I
Well-
showed and my hand was bleeding. I said, you know, my father remarried, and my stepmother runs after me that because she has a lot of field, that she has a lot of people to needed to work on the field, and I run away. So he said, okay, we're gonna call up Lakewood. Is there Mr. Alpert still there, or he's then? I said, look, then my mother will find out that I'm going to Germany work. She's not going to let me. So, and I start crying, and they believe me. He said, Hans, let her go.
But it was the German, you went to the Ukrainian agency and a German was
No,
there.
Germany.
And the German saw, from all the girls, he called you.
This is later.
Oh,
It's another story.
okay.
So this was with Ukrainian
Say
that you were speaking.
He asked me the German, then I wasn't, he said, let it go. So I was already with these Ukrainian girls and boys, and they're supposed to go to work for in Germany. Then he let me in. He didn't bother me. Then all of a sudden comes a guy, a German with black boots, standard Führer, and he came and he said, he's sitting all like this. He said, you. I figure I didn't know what he wants for my life. I said, the shikses was such a healthy shikes as me. You know, my hand is bleeding. I have no father, I have no mother, I have no money. So he said, you understand German, you understand Ukrainian. I said, I don't understand.
Yeah?
I understood very good, but I said, I don't understand nothing. He said, from all the girls, he chose me.
Like Achashverosh,
All right, we're gonna- Why did he choose you? What did he want?
Queen Esther.
He has a sister in Germany, Liegnitz. He wants to have somebody, she has 7 kids. He needs a maid. So he wants me to go to work for them.
What happened to his sister's husband? Why was he? Where was
He
he?
was,
Wasn't he a Gala?
yeah, he was a pastor,
A Gala.
a girl.
But it's
Ralph is a
important.
bishop,
But
really.
a Galach in Germany was exempted from the war, but he was so,
Yeah.
So you went. Okay. So at 1940, then.
it was 1941 or 42 that she had the papers. 41.
So 41. So for 2 years, you were between.
Well, September 39 they came.
Oh, so it was almost already 40. So for a year and a half, you were in Bukachevitz and then in Rohatin. And then at that point, you left Rohatin and you got your working papers, and you managed to get a job as a maid for a large family in Germany.
Liegnitz? What's the name of the town?
Liegnitz.
Liegnitz.
Where is that?
It's German, Oberschlesien, I think, Poland. German, Poland, Lignitz.
Mm.
Can't be Poland.
So you were maid in this for this family from when to when?
3 years.
Oh,
For 3. So for 3 years you were hiding your identity as a Jew. Work.
You know, they had 7 kids, and the little boy asked one time, Mutter, was ist das für calendar? Calendar. And the Jewish calendar said Pesach. There was a calendar.
A calendar, a Jewish calendar, and the little boy asked his mother,
There was a
what's
Jewish calendar in
He
this
had a
their
calendar.
house.
I'm sure it was just a regular calendar. It was marked Pesach on the calendar. And the little boy asked, what does it mean, Passover, Pesach, whatever, on the
So
calendar?
she said there were Jews. One time there were Jews, doity Jews.
Oh, that's what the mother answered him.
Yeah, but don't worry now. They are dead. They are dead.
oh my
Then
goodness.
kommt Weihnachten, Christmas. They gave me a dress to wear, and there was no shoes. So they gave me whole shoe,
Wooden shoes.
wooden shoe.
Who
What
has
happened-
wooden shoes?
What happened well, it was you should get
Well,
to
in the
the end.
concentration
What
camp, they
happened-
gave the inmates wooden shoes.
But at the end of the war, it was getting a little less in Germany.
So you had to
Rations.
pretend for
What
3
did you
years that you
do
weren't
every
Jewish at all.
Sunday? Listen, what did
They
you do every
told me
Sunday?
to go to church. Do I know what to do in church? So I went to the circus
Mm-hmm.
What did you tell them?
that I like a Ukrainian pasta,
Mm-hmm.
Galach. And this Galach I don't like. He's German and I don't know. This is not, I have to go to mine. So I went to a Ukrainian place. I went to a circus and I saw there. And they
Every
told
week
me-
she saw a circus.
But you wouldn't. Why wouldn't you go to church just to do what they say?
How does she know? How does she know what
I
to do
don't
in a
know,
church?
I don't know, like...
Like, just to survive.
Well, so how did she know what's supposed to do there? They'll know she's not Jewish.
So she could just say she's like a balas tshuva. Lahavdil.
Let me ask
I
you,
don't know how to tell.
And
She
what
could say her
happened-
parents were atheists.
what happened with the language?
It didn't happen.
What happened with the language? Did you speak the language?
Sure, I spoke the language.
What language?
German, Ukrainian.
Polish.
No, when you were in Germany, in this house, what language did you speak?
German.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. They told me I'm a maid. They told me to do in the morning clean the shoes.
Did you speak the language German to them?
I was afraid that maybe my accent is not like I should. And then, I spoke Yiddish.
So what happened at night? One night.
At night time, in German there was a law. You could be the richest guy in the world, but you kids have to go 1 year Pflichtjahr.
Pflichtjahr.
Yeah, there's a responsibility, 1 year.
What does that mean? Flying gear? No, Pflicht is not flying.
Responsibility. You get up in the morning, clean the shoes, make breakfast, wash the floor.
Chores.
Mm-hmm.
You should do everything.
But and the child does it in their own home, or they do it in
No.
another home?
In another home.
I see.
You home and you say, Ma, I don't want to do it.
I'm still surprised that
Wait,
grandma
so
lasted
what
for
happened
3
in
years
the
as a
middle of the
cleaning
night?
lady.
So in the middle of the
It's
night,
great.
Cooking. Wait.
in the middle of the
This is
night,
like
I
Google
dreamed that my sister is here. And they run after her. Minchi says, Minchi and Leuf.
What does that mean, run away?
For 3 years, she never spoke Yiddish. She didn't speak German. She was afraid that they would
no.
remember. In the middle of the night, she remembered she was dreaming of her sister, so she started shouting, Minchak Leuf.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So I thought in the morning they knew that I am Jewish, and I speak Jewish. I screamed, and she's gonna tell, the girl's gonna tell my boss, and they're gonna take me to the...
Wait,
There was
oh,
another girl that worked with her in this church.
Oh, I see. So you had a bedroom with
A German.
with a real Ukrainian woman, I
No,
guess.
German.
A German girl.
So what
I
happened?
see.
What did she say?
She said, Mali,
Well, your name was
Elena.
Helena, yes.
Helena.
Helena
Go
Matkovska.
ahead, Helena. What?
Are you trying to Russian?
She never wants to learn so fast, so fast the German language that in the middle of the night she screams and she learns
German.
I see.
German.
She didn't catch on that she
I
was
see.
screaming
She
Yiddish.
didn't.
You understand?
Uh-huh. I
Well,
see.
Yiddish sounds like German a little bit.
Well,
I know.
so
But
Wow.
what did you do then towards the end of the war? What was it like in
Right.
Germany?
In Germany we had to
At the end of the war, remember when it started
Yeah.
getting bad?
we had to make Schanzengrab, ditches.
Why you?
Huh?
Why you?
Because I'm a Flüchtling,
Auslander. No,
Ausländer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a German. All the people, the Ausländer that they're working there, they had to make ditches. And you know what?
Why?
The Russian already came, start coming. And they wanted the streets, we should block the street with cars.
Oh, there are no cars.
in Germany, they were trying to stop the invading Russian army. So they had the
The
Auslanders
Russian-
doing the
By the
work.
what's the proximity of this town to Berlin?
Oh, Berlin is a big town.
No,
How
no, no.
far
How far
away?
was it?
What is it?
How far away
How
from
far
where?
were you from Berlin or Munich? What was close?
From Berlin, from
We were staying
Berlin?
relative from where to
What was the closest
Berlin
big
or
city?
Munich? What was the big city that you were near Linitz? Where was it?
Oh,
Near
Linitz.
what?
This is far.
Far from Berlin?
Yeah.
Were you in the west part of
She
Germany,
doesn't
the
know.
east part?
She was in Linden's. We'll look it up. Whatever.
Okay, one moment.
Okay.
So what happened then when you were doing the ditches?
So the Russian.
Who else was doing the dishes with you? Other
Ditches.
Auslander?
Other
Ditches.
Ausländer.
Okay, other non-Jewish.
Yeah.
At this point, you're 18 or 19 years old, right?
It's about 1944.
Okay.
In the 1944, 45, they're coming.
Oh, we
45.
skipped a
And
few
the
years.
Russians, instead to go on the front, where they blocked the street, they went in the back through the field, and they came.
Oh, so in other words, the German expected them to come this one way. They told you to block it up, and meanwhile they went the back way.
So the town was invaded by the Russians and taken over by the Russians. It must have been in the spring of '45.
Okay, now what happened to your family that you were staying by?
They run away. I don't know.
So they vanished, and the home was left empty.
Oh, the family, because the Russians were coming?
And then you,
Every
But now-
year they had a Schwein. They cut the Schwein and make Wurst.
What's a shrine?
pig.
They made sausages and salami, hard meat.
Oh.
They no,
They
but
hang up the salad.
Like the
to
Chinese.
dry.
Right, they cured the meat, yes.
Chinese do that.
So what did you do with that information?
No, they preserved it, that's
Ah.
what you mean.
So what did you do to the Russian? Remember you?
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to go home, and I had no home. My mother died. My father and my sister, they were loaded to the.
Did you think there were any Jews left?
I don't know. I thought I was the only Jew.
No, that's
Why would you
important
know?
that She
Yeah.
thought she was the only Jew left. It's very,
There was no television. There was no mother, no father. How do I know how many Jews are there?
Did you listen to news reports on the radio regularly?
They closed the room when they watched. They listened to the.
radio. Oh, they
Why?
closed their room. They
Why?
They didn't want you to hear.
Why?
Because
They wanted to know that if the army was being defeated, then they don't want them to know.
No, but throughout the 3 years, your hosts always closed the room.
always.
Why?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There was no other radio?
And the other German girl was allowed to listen or not?
No.
So what happened when they weren't home?
She went home some
Oh.
for the weekends. Maybe she knew what's going on.
I see.
But me,
And
stayed
newspapers?
there?
You didn't read any newspapers?
me newspapers.
It's German.
The Germans, I was Ukrainian. They didn't let us read anything. And I tell you the truth, I didn't even was interested to read any.
How were you able to hide your identity from being Jewish for 3 years? You never slipped at all?
No, it's okay.
You never slipped?
She never spoke. So wait, but it's important to say also, did they, so what happened with this Russian when the army came?
The army came, and I had the people that work with me, the Ukrainian, Polish, they wanted to go home. They finish working and they go home. But I have no home, I have no place where to go. My father died, my mother died, my sister died, where should I go? So I had a shikse, which one, she lived not far from Burstin. Her name is Marusha Ludzinska. So I said to her, you know what, I'm gonna go to your house and I will see maybe somebody gonna bring me to my house. I didn't want to tell her that I have no house, no place.
So go ahead. And
So,
go ahead. So that's what you told her. But was she healthy or
but
what?
I came and but the train came, you know, and there. So I saw Jewish people.
No. Before that, how did you get from Germany there? There was the Russian guy that
Yeah.
came. So
In Russian is like your name is Yankel Moishe
what was his name?
Abramovich.
Abrahami.
No.
Abramovich or Abrahami?
Like instead of Pfeffer.
I know, but what was
Abrahami.
the Russian man's name?
I don't know what is his name, but the name they call Pfeffer Abramovich, for instance,
But how did you know that he was Jewish?
because Abramovich,
How could you not think of Jewish?
Abraham,
She told me his name was Abrahami. This is the first now that it's Abramowitz. For 30 years his name was Abrahami.
so he says to me, Abramovich, they call him Abramovich.
Okay.
So I said to him, you know what, I would like to talk to you. I'm Jewish girl and I saved my life and now I want to go home. There was no train, there was no horses to go. I
But
would
you
like
told
to-
him that
Yeah,
they don't know that you're Jewish. The other girls didn't know.
The other girl didn't know, but he didn't know either. He thought what I want from him. So he said to me, don't worry, I'm gonna help you whatever I can. And he told me that he is gonna, the mail is going, they bring the mail with the train. So when we come, he gonna put me there and with his mail. And when we come to Stansfeld, like to New York, they come with the mail and I will go hold my hand too, just push it. Push the mail, that I'm one of the mail.
So you pretend you're a mail carrier.
Yeah. What's the matter?
You went there by train?
Yeah. Oh, by bus, by
How about a cab?
It was a horse and buggy.
No, not bus,
Horses.
Airplane?
No, tractor.
But you didn't go by train.
No.
Okay, so you went from. How did you get
That's it, from Germany.
backtracking from this town in Germany that
And
you
she
stayed for
also
3
took
years?
the Russian back to your house to take all the
So
cured
you met up with
meats.
this Russian guy by the name of Abrahamitz or Abrahami, either one of those two. He identified himself as being Jewish. You confided to him that you were also Jewish. You said you want to go back to your hometown.
And he said, I'll take care of it. But she was with another, she really didn't know what was back home. So she told this other girl who's not Jewish with her, I'll go to your house, from there I'll go elsewhere. Because she just didn't want her to know she's Jewish. But we still don't know how you got back.
Then I saw
Wait, how did you go? Just tell me, do you remember how you got back? How did
Back
you go
to your hometown.
Poland? How did you go to Poland? How did you go back to Ukraine? The Russian put you on what? A tractor?
no,
Horse?
no,
Let's think for a second.
Wagon?
Can you look
no,
at that?
like a car, not a car, but
Pickup truck?
a truck.
A truck. Uh-huh. It was a big truck, I know, like with the thing in the back where all the people like to sit.
And
Like
they,
a,
Mhm.
they were singing the Russian,
Right, you
they
see
had
the-
an accident.
Right.
Accident.
And did the girl that you were with, was she healthy?
No, she fell. They had an accident and she was
What kind of accident? A
Car
car?
accident,
car
truck
accident.
accident
She
with those
was
Russian
in a-
people.
in a cast.
She broke her
Oh my
leg.
God.
And I had to bring her to the bedroom and help her everything because she was in a cast.
This was the German girl that you had worked with.
Ukrainian girl, Polish girl.
Oh,
Ukrainian.
another girl.
And she
Okay.
lived not far her town.
I
like
see.
you go.
She said to her she's gonna go to her
Yes,
house.
yes. Okay.
So then I saw two Jews.
Wait, then they got back to the town.
We came to the town. I see the two Jewish boys. Yankel, aus der golden Chazale.
How's
You
the
know
golden chaz? You have a golden pig?
You know the Jewish money, golden Chazala. They used to call Chazala.
I don't get it.
What was it, house?
The money of the pig?
The Jews would call Jewish money
It's
pigs.
not Jewish money. There's gold.
So
gold.
Jews would call it the Jewish chazer, this gold money.
Chazala.
Uh-huh.
Chazala.
Uh-huh.
Jewish Chazala. So they start talking like this. So I listened. I thought maybe they spoke German. I know. I see
Why?
they-
That's very
they
important.
spoke-
Okay, good.
They spoke Jewish. So I said to them, excuse me, I couldn't speak Jewish anymore because I don't remember. I was afraid to
She forgot
speak.
Yiddish.
Right, you didn't speak for 3 years, except
Yeah.
in the middle of the
She
night.
And the
forgot.
sheikh
She-
said,
she-
How do you
she-
forget
Because
Yiddish?
she panicked from the stress, you know, and she was afraid to speak.
You taught
it.
yourself not to say it,
Yeah.
but you knew how to say it.
No, well,
so
she.
I told the sheikh said she is in a cast. I have to find somebody should bring her home. Both of us. But in the meantime comes this two Jewish fella, Moishe Yankel, and I was so happy that I took him there.
You hug these guys?
Hugged them and kissed them.
She didn't know there were any
Yeah.
Jews left.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So I said, look, I'm from Burstein, and my name is Malcha Erdstein. And so I would like to go home, tell me there's any Jews left and everything. So he told me, yeah, this is from Burstein.
No, wait. First, what did he do? First, didn't he yell at you and say now you want to come back as a Jew because you were.
Yeah, he said, oh, now everybody's Jewish. Before Yidden dictated, before you killed all the Jews, and now everybody's Jewish.
They all
Oh,
want
he
to be
thought
Jewish.
you were not Jewish.
Right, because she couldn't speak Yiddish.
I see.
She's speaking to him in
Oh,
German.
he thought you were German, trying to.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Did you speak to him in German or Ukrainian?
I spoke to him Polish.
Oh, Polish. Okay.
The Yankel Moise, you know, from.
So what happened then? Did they check you out?
They say from Burstein.
She had the name pop, and they
I said,
verified her
sure.
information.
Sure, I said, my name is Malchi Erdstein, and this is from Burstein, and this is from Burstein. Oh, all right. Came a lot of people, and they took me
Where?
to
So there
their
were a lot of
home.
Jews that survived from Bogstein.
Not so many, but they, whatever they had, they lived in one place.
I mean, they all congregated, the Jews. They sort of like came together,
They
whoever
were
survived.
not in Burstein
But you
anymore, in a small place.
And what
but in
happened with this
Stanislav.
girl?
Hmm?
What happened with this girl?
The Polish girl says to me,
She never knew you were Jewish.
No. But she told her then.
look, who's there, you kisses? I said, this is a Jewish fella. She said, how come you didn't want to go out in Germany with nice boys, and now such a dirty Jew, you kisses? I said, because I'm dirty Jew too.
So what she said to you?
So she said, from now on, I'm going to tell the whole world, only with the Jewish girl you could live so good.
Because she took her and schlepped her and did everything with her.
Mm-hmm.
So she actually appreciated Jews.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. You did that.
Wait, and then what happened when you went back to Burstein?
Then your daddy said, I saved your life.
No, first, no, why?
Now marry
why?
me.
First, all the boys wanted her because she was healthy.
Everybody was.
Right. Everyone they called them the survivors, those that had reached this emaciated stage. They euphemistically called them Muselmaner. Musulmana. I just read that in this biography of
Third Reich.
Chaim Hersh Kahan.
Oh.
So those that the famous pictures, the nearly dead, starving skeletons that you see. So within the concentration camp, they would, if somebody had reached that stage, they would call them the Musulmana.
Well, she was not. My mother was, you were healthy, so everyone wanted to marry you, right? So what happened then?
Next to Faye Zega, that's Mrs. Haber. So she said that I came straight like a
Straight like what?
I was straight.
She wasn't
Oh,
hunched.
you weren't hunchback. You were erect. You stand up straight.
It was young, and
So what happened?
so she said everybody wanted. There's not many girls left. Who is girl in the woods?
Mm-hmm.
You have to take a shower. You have to dress yourself. There's no money. There's no.
So what happened with Daddy?
Daddy said I'm gonna be a chaplain for myself. I
So
saved.
he said, yeah, because he gave you the work papers.
Yeah, I saved your life. So now we're gonna be a couple.
How did Grandpa? You didn't say any story with Grandpa. Where was he the whole time?
He was in the woods. She didn't see him. How did she see him?
So how'd you
She went to
reunite
him.
with him? How'd you
They
get
went back.
reunited?
She just said she went back to Borstein.
And Grandpa was still there in the bunker?
Grandpa was there. He was in the bunker. He was in the
No.
woods. So then they all came
He
to
hid in the woods
Grandpa.
for 5 years?
Because they knew they were cousins, he was 18 years older, they went to him and said, we want a shotgun with your cousin. We all want to marry her.
So he said,
Finally, he said after a few
I'll
of
take
us-
her.
Yeah, because I gave you the papers to save you.
Yeah,
So
but
then you
my
married
was
him.
a very smart man. And whatever he did with the cop, right?
But that was here. We're talking about there, yeah.
He did obviously.
over
he
there
survived.
also.
Oh, wait, he
Obviously over
survived
there he
also.
also did
And
it.
you know-
But he went there
Yeah.
to go him. They baked bread. He went, he took away the bread he had for people in the wood.
Amazing.
For some reason, okay, the Ukrainian people that my father had business with respected him, which I don't understand to today, and that it was more like the poor Ukrainian Jews that headed in for the more poor Ukrainians headed in for the Jews as opposed to, let's say, the wealthier ones that had business, so that they had a running tab even of what they owed my father. House, he had told me it was amazing how my uncle, there was a house of like an older woman, a Ukrainian woman, and her son just comes in from rounding up Jews and killing them, and he hangs up his coat, and the grandmother says, here, go take this plate, bring it upstairs to Hersh. He's upstairs. So here it is, he kills the Jews and rounds them up, and she gives him a plate to eat to go bring it upstairs to my uncle, who's upstairs there to eat. It was just
They
amazing.
sent the medicine to.
And they sent
to
medicine,
Russia.
and they sent everything else he
What
had
kind
in
of
the woods.
medicine?
Anything for the guys in the
Arthritis.
woods. What?
They send the medicine for arthritis to better the good.
I know, but that's
Oh,
you sent
right.
it now to the
Yeah.
after the war to the to
So
Ukrainian.
the people who lived in the woods, as it were,
Mhm.
they did not live in a house for 4 years.
The
They basically
bunkers.
did not
In the
step.
bunkers. In the bunkers.
In the
So they
bunkers.
dug
made bunkers.
holes for themselves in
Right.
the ground.
And they did not have problems with food because Ukrainian is the breadbasket, and they used to go in the fields and steal potatoes and
They were
things,
afraid.
and you know.
We saw that in the movie. Them stealing the potatoes and sticking them
Right.
in.
There was plenty.
or
There was
weeds or
plenty.
something,
I mean, it wasn't. It was starving, but
That
there was
guy
plenty of
stole a
food.
bunch of
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
inside.
I have to go move my car.
Or he
Right.
stole a watch. What did he sell? Grandma,
Okay.
your father had you at 61 years old?
Oh wait, Mom! After the war, you have to say what you did with your house and sold it.
I sold the house.
Sold your house, so still.
It was used by the Germans.
We built the house from scratch. We had a lot. We had a brick house. And then before we went away, my sister came from Russia, the oldest sister. She had nothing, so I sold the house, and I had 3 gold mechazalach.
Hmm.
That was for the house.
For 3 gold coins.
Mhm.
All right. I think that pretty much covers at least through the war.
Mhm.
So we will end it now.
Sure.
Grandma's like, I'm
And,
tired, sure.
Okay, thank you very much, Grandma.